I started thinking about all of the people in my life who were just that. People who let their light so shine before me in some of my darkest times. I grew up in New Orleans. My mother worked as a daycare assistant at the Jewish Community Center. The man that I was told was my father was a carpenter and a functional alcoholic. He was abusive to my mother and I, so needless to say, for most of my younger years, I was angry. And by the time I entered into adolescence, I was furious. God knew I needed points of light. So he gave me a praying mother. Not more than a baby herself, when she married this man, she tried her best to protect me from him. But with no life skills of her own, she did what she knew how to do. But oh, how she loved me. Friday was payday for him, so he would come home happy, but that was short-lived. He would go out and return a few hours later drunk and angry, yelling and fighting her. And as I watched in horror, God knew that this little boy needed points of light. This happened every Friday and every Saturday night, but come Sunday morning, my mother would come in the room and wake me up, shake me in my chest and say, "Come on, baby, let's go to church." When we get there, I would see my mother up in the choir singing, happy, rocking, talking about, "Thank you, Jesus." I remember being a little boy wanting to know this God, this Jesus that made my mother so happy. She said, "Baby, I'm gonna teach you how to be a Christian, the real one. You know, the ones with flaws, that makes mistakes, the ones that God himself used in the Bible, that kind, not these perfect pretending holy rollers," she called them, you know. She taught me that God loved me, and oh, what a point of light he has been for me. Now, I'm sorry, I know it's not politically correct to talk about God and faith these days, but oh well, they gave me a microphone. Thank you for allowing me to be myself. It was my mother teaching me about God and faith that allowed me to forgive my father and also to be able to understand them both. Now that I'm older, I realize that my parents had no examples. They were two wounded children trying to raise a wounded child. Years later, I would enter into show business not knowing that I was carrying a desire to share what I had learned and witnessed growing up, not knowing that the very people that had made me laugh and made me cry and made me happy, made me sad, and literally had made me were showing up in my work. Their lives, their stories, their hopes, their dreams, their despair were all on display in my films and my storytelling. I only wanted to bring laughter and light now because I had seen so much darkness growing up. I was writing about things that were raw and guttural, my own experiences, so much so that it made the critics uncomfortable. It was crass and abrasive to the trained eye, offensive, they called it. But while they were writing their reviews, I was receiving emails and likes on Facebook by the millions from people all around the world who got it. Like the letter I got from a woman who said, "My sister saw Diary of a Mad Black Woman, and you did in 2 hours what my family has been trying to do for 12 years. She's leaving an abusive relationship." Yeah. It was a point of light. Or the letter that I got from a mother of a little boy in Houston who has autism, and she was telling me that it's my shows that keep him calm enough to go to sleep in the evening. A point of light. Or the single mother who sent me an email saying that she had it and she was going to commit suicide. She rented a hotel room and she wanted to spend the last day with her kids. So she brought them to this hotel and she said, "Anything you guys want to do, you let me know." One of them said, "I want to watch one of Tyler Perry's plays." So they watched the show. And after they watched it, she was no longer depressed. She found herself laughing and happy and joyous. And she no longer wanted to commit suicide. That's a point of light. It feels great to be able to lift people on this level, but you also have the power to lift people even if you don't have this platform.